Welcome to the Gruffalo Yoga. Do you like the story of the Gruffalo? I wonder what your favourite character is. If you love this story, grab yourself a mat, fly it out, and let's begin our Gruffalo Yoga. Are you all ready for Gruffalo Yoga? What's your favourite character? Is it the fox, or the owl, or the snake, or the Gruffalo, or maybe even the mouse? I love the mouse. They're so clever, aren't they? In today's yoga, we're going to be doing lots of yoga poses for all the different animals, and we get to read the story too. It's such a fantastic story by Julia Donaldson, and Alex Schiffer's illustrations are just iconic. They're ones that you remember for the rest of your life, and that's why I love this story so much. So first of all, I'm just going to run through the different poses that we do, and then I'm going to read out the story. And every time you hear the name of one of the animals which I've shown you a yoga pose for, we're going to do the pose. So before we do that, we're just going to warm up our bodies, and so all that moving around doesn't pull any muscles or cause us any pain. So let's do our sun salutation warm up, and then we'll get going with our story. Okay, so put your feet hip width apart. So hip width apart, so put our hands together, just check that they're hip width apart. And I'm going to face this way so I've got enough room to stretch. So hip width apart, hands together in prayer pose, and then we draw circles with our elbows. So we give our shoulders a good rounding and a good moving backwards. And then we're going to roll our shoulders forwards. So we're drawing those circles with our elbows again. Before we reach up tall in extended mountain pose. So feet hip width apart, arms shoulder width apart, as if we're holding a big beach ball in our hands. And then we put our hands on our knees and push out our bottoms. Or we might put our hands by our side and pretend that we're a bird flying through the air. Before we reach down and reach one of our feet all the way back, as far back as we can, making sure our knees over our ankle for our lizard position or our lunge. Then we bring both feet back, so we're into high plank, making sure that bottom's nice and flat and straight with the rest of your body. No bottoms in the air, please. Keep it nice and straight. Then knees to the ground. We go back into child pose, so bring your head down to the floor, your bottom down to your feet, and stretching out your arms. And if this is a bit too strong, you can put your head on your arms like so. Then drawing a line up the mat with your nose, come and lie on your belly. And with your forearms, your elbows to your hands flat on the floor, looking straight up. So you're looking up, and this is Sphinx pose. So many different poses in yoga. Then push up, and we're going to our downward dog pose. Now pay attention to this pose because we're going to be doing it later for our fox, because this is the most like a fox that I could think of. So push your bottom as high as you can into the air and your heels as close to the floor as possible. Really trying to straighten out that back. Doesn't matter if your knees are bent. Then bring the left foot forward if you did the right foot back before, and lunge on the other side, and feet together, flat back, maybe your hands are out here, up into extended mountain, and hands together in prayer. So that should have warmed you up a bit. That's called the sun salutation, and we're just going to do it one more time. We'll go through it a little bit quicker before we then go on to our Gruffalo story. Are you ready? Hands in prayer position, and then roll those shoulders back, circles one way and circles the other way, and then down into flat back or flying, pretend that we're a flying bird. Then hands down into lizard pose, both feet back into high plank, knees down into child pose, then draw that line with your nose up into Sphinx, looking up to the ceiling, push back
into downward facing dog. Really try and flatten that back, get that bottom up really nice and high. Left foot forward into lizard on the other side. Feet together, flat back, hands up high, and into prayer pose. So let's begin our story. So there's a few creatures, isn't there? There's the mouse in Gruffalo stories. So for the mouse, every time I say mouse, I want you to go into child pose. So child pose, head on the floor, hands by your feet. Maybe you have a little tail as a mouse. If you find that a bit strong, you can always put your hands down and put your head on your hands. The other one that I mentioned was fox, didn't I? So fox, as I said, we're going to do downward dog pose. So hands hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart rather, feet hip width apart, pushing back, creating a nice straight back. Then we also have the snake, don't we? So for snake, we're going to do cobra pose. So snake is lying flat on your belly, hands underneath your shoulders, elbows tucked right in so they're like hugging your ribs, looking down at the floor and then imagining someone's got a string and they're pulling up your head. So this is cobra pose, or what we're going to do for snake, because cobras are a type of snake. And then there's also an owl, isn't there? So for owl, we're going to do a version of flying bird pose. So we imagine that one of our feet is like a tree trunk with roots going down into the floor, nice and secure, hands out wide, big wide wings, and then we just tip forward. And if you can, lift your back foot off and you look as if you're looking into a pond, and you can just tip as far as feels comfortable. So for you, this might be as far as you want to go, or you might feel more comfortable going a bit further, but just go for as comfortable as you feel. And each time you do it, swap which leg you do it on, so each side get a chance to balance. And then of course there's the Gruffalo, isn't there? So for Gruffalo pose, I think you should choose whichever pose you feel looks like the Gruffalo. He's quite a scary looking creature, isn't he? So maybe you might have your hands up here or like knees up there. Okay, I'll leave that one to you. So are you ready for the Gruffalo yoga story? I'll do it with you. I might have to stop and start a bit as I read. Okay, so the Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson. A mouse took a stroll. So are you in mouse pose? Let's start in mouse pose. A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark woods. Maybe we're going to have a tree for the woods. And the fox saw the mouse. Oh, fox and mouse. And the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, fox, but no. I'm going to have lunch with the Gruffalo. What's a Gruffalo? Why, a Gruffalo? Didn't you know? He has terrible tusks and terrible claws and terrible teeth in his terrible jaws. Where are you meeting him? Here, by these rocks. And his favourite food is roasted fox. A roasted fox? I'm off. Goodbye, little mouse. And away he sped. Silly old fox. Doesn't he know that there's no such thing as a Gruffalo? Did you keep up with that first round? Let's see how you do next round. On went the mouse through the deep, dark wood, and the owl saw the mouse. And the mouth looked good.
Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have tea in my treetop house.
Oh, it's frightfully nice of you, Owl. But I'm going to have tea with the Gruffalo.
A Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Oh, I didn't you know?
A Gruffalo has knobbly knees and turned out toes and a poisonous wart at the end of his nose.
Where are you meeting him?
Here, by the stream. And his favourite food is owl ice cream.
Owl ice cream. Too. Goodbye, little mouse,
Said the owl.
and away
Owl flew. Silly old owl. Doesn't he know there's no such thing as a Gruffalo? On went the mouse through the deep, dark woods, and a snake saw the mouse. And the mouse looked good.
Where are you going to, little brown mouse?
Come for a feast in my log pile house. Oh, it's wonderfully good of you, Snake. But no, I'm going for having a feast with a Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why, didn't you know? His eyes are orange. His tongue is black. And he has purple prickles all down his back. Where are you meeting him? Here, by this lake. And his favourite food is scrambled snake. Scrambled snake. It's time I hid. Goodbye, little mouse. And away. Snake slid. Silly old snake. Doesn't he know there's no such thing as a Gruffalo? But who is this creature with terrible claws and terrible teeth in his terrible jaws and his knobbly knees and his turned out toes and his poisonous wart on the end of his nose, and his eyes are orange and his tongue is black and his purple prickles all over his back? Oh, help! Oh no, it's a Gruffalo! My favourite food, the Gruffalo said. You'll taste good in a slice of bread. Good, said the mouse. Don't call me good. I'm the scariest creature in this wood. Just walk behind me and soon you'll see everyone is afraid of me. All right, said the Gruffalo, bursting with laughter. You go ahead and I'll follow after. They walked and they walked until they heard a hiss ahead. It's Snake. said the mouse. Why, Snake, hello. Snake took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, crumbs, he said. Goodbye, little mouse. And away he slid to his log pile house. You see, said the mouse, I told you so. Amazing, said the Gruffalo. They walked some more till the Gruffalo said, I hear a hoot in the woods ahead. It's a owl, said the mouse. Why, owl? Hello, owl. Took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh dear, he said, goodbye, little mouse. And he flew off to his treetop house. You see, said the mouse, I told you so. Astounding, said the Gruffalo. They walked some more till the Gruffalo said, I can hear feet and footsteps way up ahead. It's Fox, said the mouse. Why, Fox, hello. Fox took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, help, he said. Goodbye, little mouse. And away he ran to his underground house. Well, Gruffalo, said the mouse, you see, everyone is afraid of me. But now my tummy's beginning to rumble. And my favourite food is Gruffalo crumble. Gruffalo crumble, the Gruffalo said. And quick as the wind, he ran and fled. And all was quiet in the deep, dark wood. And the mouse found a nut, and the nut was good. Well, we did a lot of yoga in that story, didn't we? Did you manage to keep up with all the mice references to mouse and owl and fox and snake and the Gruffalo? Well done if you did. I love that story. It's so great how the little old mouse just overcomes all the scariest creatures in the wood by a clever use of his brain. So what we're going to do next is a breathing exercise. And for today's breathing exercise, we're going to do snake breath, as we've had snake in our story. So for snake breath, we breathe in for, say, a count of 4. And then as we breathe out through our teeth and make a hissing sound. So breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Hopefully the microphone will pick up my hiss, but if not, that's what I'm doing. So breathe in and hiss out. Breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. And now take the biggest breath of the day so far. Breathe in and out. Do you think you could make quite a good snake if you tried? I certainly heard a lot of hissing then. And now, if you want to pause the video and get yourself a cushion or a blanket, we'll have our relaxation time. So when you're ready,
Lie yourself down, ideally on your back, and let your hands just fall to the side or let them rest on your body. Let your feet fall out so that they're not crossed, so every muscle in your body gets a chance to rest. And when you're ready, we shall begin. For today, we're going to take a walk in the deep, dark woods. And you're as brave as the mouse, because you know that you have the skills within you, the resources within you, to deal with whatever challenges you may come across. You also maybe have people with you or an animal with you that keeps you safe from harm. And so as you walk through the woods, you hear your feet crunch on the floor, on the twigs and the dried leaves that you find there. And you see birds flying up high overhead in the patches of blue sky that you see between the trees. And you look up and you see lots of leaves on all the trees with the sunlight glimmering through them, casting shadows on the ground. And maybe you hear rustling and see creatures like squirrels running up a tree trunk and along the branches. Maybe you see butterflies or ladybirds or spiders crawling around on the undergrowth. Maybe you see a fox peeking out from behind a tree trunk, or a rabbit, or maybe even a deer. What can you see on the woods that you're in? I'm going to leave you for 30 seconds to imagine running around the woods, exploring, finding creatures. Maybe you find a stick which can turn into a wand or something to throw for a dog, or something is a sword. Who knows what your imagination might turn it into? And leave you enjoying those beautiful woods for 30 seconds while you enjoy and relax. When you're ready, open your eyes and sit yourself up. Bring your hands together and let's say namaste. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank me for teaching you. The goodness in me sees the goodness in you. Until next time and our next story. Bye-bye.